Father's Day. Man, how y'all doing, man? Hey, this is a shout out to all the grandparents out there, all the young fathers out there, all the older fathers out there. You a foster parent, whatever you doing. If you just out there just helping kids in the community, man, shouts out to you. But right now, what I'm doing is I have brought Mr. OG Craig Costen. Y'all remember Mr. OG Craig Costen from Lions Den and from everywhere else. I got here with me. I got my brother Tillman. If you be on Clubhouse, who running everything like this, soul circle, everything. He does a whole lot of things, personal trainer, just everything. But today is not about our titles. It's about all the fathers. So I need all the fathers right now that think, the people that's on it right now that think people can see them right now. So unmute your microphone so they can see y'all. Right now they can't see you. It's on active speaker. So right now, Mr. Craig Costen, unmute your microphone. Mr. Tillman, unmute your microphone. All right, Mr.
Craig, everybody.
Tell them who you are, man. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Take me?
Yeah, tell them a little bit about yourself, Mr. Craig.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I'm a member of that club, and I really appreciate and love that committee. And I also want to say Happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. As Kyle said, I've been around, been in his world for a couple of years. I'm out here, a retired businessman. I'm just chilling out, learning how to retire. You know, I've only been out there for about 1.5 years, 2 years retired. So you know what? It's just it's new to me. I'm still out there looking to get out there and do something, but that's okay. I'm going to stay retired, as Kyle just convinced me to do. But as a father, as a grandfather, that brings on a whole new life, a whole new understanding of this world we are in right now. So we're going to be talking today about fatherhood, about grandfatherhood, and how we as men can portray a better, more productive, and be more spiritual for our children. So Kyle, I'm appreciating what we're doing today. So you want me to go right into my questions now? Or you want to kind of lead into it?
Hold on, let me introduce this next man. This next man is on Clubhouse all the time. So I got the yellow background with the black tank top every single time, man. But he brings the energy, he brings the power. Every time I'm around him, we sharpen the iron every single time. I go, he go, we both fly when we talk, but we make sure at the end of the day, it's always about doing something for the people. So tell me, man, introduce yourself to the people, sir. And after that, Mr. Craig, you go over to first.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tillman G III. I got 2 young kids. You know, building a lot of, building my brand, as well as, you know, just being a great dad every single day. I'm a single father of 2 kids, just recently got custody of my children. So, man, you know, it's, you know, just being that example, you know, with it being Juneteenth is a very, very, very important day. For a lot of y'all who may be watching this, you don't know exactly why it is what it is. Make sure you take the time to actually research it, because there's a lot that goes on around this particular day. And with it being the day before fatherhood, I'm very happy to be an example in 2021 of the simple fact that I am a young Black man in America as a single father with custody, who spent years fighting for their children. And also, you know, I wake up and I do this every single day. You know, being a father is not no sometime thing. It's a all the time thing. So even you know, me taking care of myself, taking care of my body and everything that I have to do moving forward is always an example to my children. And it's always an example to my community. So anytime that I can uplift, empower, and inspire other fathers to be better, other men to be better, other people to be better, then that's always my goal. But in my personal opinion, I know a lot of people gonna think this is really crazy, and it is what it is, you know, but me personally, I think it starts with the head, and the head of the household is the men. So the more we build up our men, the more that, you know, we're gonna build up everyone else. So that's what it is. You know, I'm always here to provide value where I can. I have Titanium King Network, which is my company. I do digital marketing as well as business consulting for people. And I also have Titanium King Network just for men empowerment. So yeah, I'm excited to see where I can add value. Appreciate you having me.
Already, man. Hey, Happy Juneteenth to everybody. And like all these brothers just said, it's very, very important. So you don't know about it, don't know what it is. As you know, you Google everything else, go Google. But I gotta shout out my 5 kids, man. You know I got 5. I gotta remember the names. Gotta shout out big boy Amir, Madison, Nalani, Taylor, Olivia, man. Those are my boo-boos. My little boy getting strong just like his dad. You know, I love him. Right now, it's time to jump into this father edition of the King series. So, Mr. Craig, go ahead with your first question.
Well, as a father, I have 3 wonderful kids and 3 wonderful grandchildren. They are all my kids are in their late 30s now. So, you know, they're at a point now where we're talking back and forth as father. Of course, you do your father thing, but now you're getting closer to friendship because they're grown now. So they're asking advice about business, asking advice about life. So it's more back and forth. As a father, a lot of time it's just this way. But now as you get a little older, it's going this way. So the first thing I would like you, King, I'd like to ask you, Kings, is what have you learned from your children? Or if any, what have you learned from your children?
Okay, I'll go, and then we're gonna let Tillman go. What I learned from my children is patience. Like my children teach me patience. They teach me patience. They teach me how to never give up. Like I see the way they do their tests is how they structure their mind to just know, okay, this right here, this right here, this right here. And half the time, you know, I've been on the road, so I couldn't really do it, but I see that from them, and it makes me want to go harder as a dad. So that's what I learned from my kids.
Okay.
Me personally, man, I learned so much from my children. I don't even know, but I think it's a couple things because with me, I have young kids, so you know, with young children, one thing I love about them is they find a way to find joy and love and fun in everything. You know what I mean? So it's just about like even taking those things that are mundane and making them fun and enjoyable is something that is I love about, you know, children. And the other thing I love about my children is the fact that like, you know, just they really teach you about like belief, you know, and I always use this example. Like I could go to my son and my daughter and be like, look, when we go, I could just say something as simple as we're going to the grocery store. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh man, we're going to the grocery store like all day long. You know, they hype about us going to the grocery store. You know what I mean? But the simple point behind that is like me just giving the word that this is gonna happen is enough for them. You know, and I think a lot of times when you talk about like kingdom principles and you talk about like the word of God and you talk about like standing on his word, like just you being a father and giving the word as that something's going to happen and that literally being enough for them taught me a lot personally just about my word and how strong your word is and how keeping your word is so important and being mindful of what you're saying, because when you're mindful of what you're saying, you understand the impact that you make on others. You see what I'm saying? Because with little children, that's all you gotta say. You know, if you ain't finna take them to Six Flags, if you're not finna take them to Disney World, you better not say it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the same way with us. Like if you don't want to have, if you don't want to have bad things happen in your finances, if you don't want bad things happening in your health, don't say it. You know, say what you want, because just like how those little kids are gonna cling on to everything you say, so does everything else around you. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that my children really, really taught me. So when my younger years before I had children, I wasn't as mindful as I am as a man today, who is actually mindful of what I say and what I put out there in the atmosphere, because of the simple fact that I know that my words have impact and I know that it's very powerful. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So you got to speak life into your children, not death into your children, but that also bleeds into everything else as far as speaking life into your situations and into yourself.
Amen.
Love it, Tillman. Really do love it. Oh, Tillman, I'm put on mute yet. It's the time for you to give out your question.
All right, it's a bet. So let me see what oh no, it's in the other one. Let me see. So my question was, yeah, so this actually like really goes into what Craig's question was, but it's crazy. But my question was, what have you learned about yourself as a father?
Wow.
Go ahead, OG. Go ahead.
You know what? The two hardest or the most, I'm a businessman and I've been out there doing business all my life. That has always been easy for me. The biggest challenge in my life, all my life, has been how to maintain a happy spiritual married life, which I'm no longer married, and how to raise and be an example for your children. So I would say, if I'm understanding your question correctly, the biggest challenge for me as a father, what I've learned is, as you said earlier, being a father is a 7-day, 8-day, 25-hour-a-day job. Your child is always, or should always, if you're doing it right, it should be coming to you for advice. It should be coming to you for direction, and they're going to be following your examples. So if you're out there doing the wrong, they see it, whether you're trying to hide it or not. They see it. So when they start doing the wrong, you can't be surprised. If you're cussing and not going to church and abusing that beautiful queen beside you, they're going to do it. So the biggest challenge for me is always, always being positive, being real, but positive in front of those kids. Brother Kyle?
What I learned as being a father, what I learned myself is discipline. Like discipline is one of the things that I think sometimes we really don't have. But what I make sure I do is I make sure I instill the right values into my kids, and it goes along with discipline because I'm one of them people. I go to church every Sunday. So that's what I do. Every Sunday I'm going to church. Till I've been an OTR driver. When I was there, I couldn't go. But before then, my kid was happy to go to church. I used to have him in church for 3 services. I used to usher inside the church. So kids probably didn't like that one at all. But I always made sure the value was going to church. The value was respecting elders. That's why I respect OG Craig Costen. OG Craig Costen, 7 years old, but I gotta respect my elders. And I teach my son the same thing. So I'll never forget one time we was going inside of a store and that an older lady was going in right in front. He ran right in front of him and I pulled him by his shirt, pulled him back. You know what I'm saying? Showing him like, hey, that's not what you do. You open the door for. So what I learned as a father is like Mr. Craig said, everything you do, they see. So for me to be a quote unquote strong king, I'm raising a prince and I'm raising princesses. So I have to do the right thing as a father so they can walk in my footsteps. Like me taking my little girls out I do my little girl nails. I take them out to eat because I want them to always know this is the way a queen gets treated right now. They're in the walking stages of princess to queen. So I got to teach them right now. I got to teach my little man the same thing. What you got to say about that, Tillman?
So I think I have a couple of different things. Like just to touch on what Mr. Craig said is that, what we do as far as, everything that we do that our children are watching. I think the biggest thing that I want a lot of men, especially a lot of young men, to get from this is that, it is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So sometimes we don't realize as young men, like how powerful we actually are. And I think that when you realize how powerful your actions, your words, and everything that you do impact someone else, it's a lot of responsibility. But, with that responsibility comes, to whom much is given, much is required. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So just being able to step into that role is definitely something that, I definitely appreciate. But I would say the biggest thing that I learned from my children is positive self-talk. And the reason why I say that is because my son has my same name. So when I say things to him, it's like I'm saying things about myself. And that really, really taught me, because like I'm an athlete. So I'm a very A-type person. Like I'm always looking for the next goal. I'm always looking to accomplish the next thing. I'm always trying to move forward, do this and do this and do this. But at the same time, being able to take time to celebrate my son has taught me to take time to celebrate myself. Being able to build up my son verbally has taught me to build up myself. You know, being able to see even the little things that he does right and to point those things out has allowed me to do that within myself. And then the other thing is, you know, as a father, like he said, it's like if you have any bad habits, hey, they're gonna expose you. And I think the biggest thing in terms of what Kyle said is that, you know, I'm really big on, you know, making sure that my daughter, I literally call them like young king and young queen. So they know that. But I think one of the biggest things that I'm really big on that I don't really see a lot of fathers doing that I had to make a mental shift with is this. You got to realize that your children are not going to grow up in the same era that you did. You know, as of today, I'll be 33 in September. And I've seen this world change tremendously over the past 3 decades. So instead of me thinking about me preparing them for K through 12 right now, I'm looking at coding for my son. You see what I'm saying? I've never done coding, but that may be a skill that he needs going forward. You see what I'm saying? 2021 and beyond, I think a lot of times as parents in general, whether you're a mother or a father, you're going to see that as you continue to get older, you're preparing your children for a world that we've never even seen. And I think a lot of times as we get older and we become adults, we're sitting here thinking, oh, how come our parents didn't prepare us for this? Because a lot of people grow up thinking that we're going to teach them with the same type of structure, the same type of values that was before, right? But they're going to be facing different challenges. They're going to be facing an entirely different war. They're going to be facing entirely different temptations, you know, just to keep it 100 with y'all. Like back in the day, we didn't have this. You know what I'm saying? You had a home phone. You had to call me at the 7 o'clock. You know, you couldn't reach me. Like if I wasn't at home, you can't reach me. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Like there's only a certain level of temptation you could go through. You know, if you pick up the phone, your mama might pick up the phone the other end and be like, what you doing on the phone? Where you at hanging? You supposed to be asleep before I come in that room. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you don't even have that. They don't even have to have this. They could literally just have a computer and be on there messaging somebody that you don't even know that's in a whole nother state. So you got to prepare them for a whole different digital world that you haven't even seen before. And that comes down to teaching them the correct principles that will carry them for a lifetime.
Hey man, you ain't lying. Like I'm about to go to the next question, but I remember growing up, man, and I remember the female used to call, or somebody used to call, and I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be playing a video game, you know. I stay with myself. Mama, who you on the phone with? Man, God, you always messing up every single time. But man, tell me you are so right, man, because it's something different we gotta teach our kids now. And sometimes we have to teach the elders too, right, Mr. Craig? Don't say that. But I'm just letting y'all know that teach your kids the right way and they see everything you're doing. Like Tillman also said too, it's not the same way anymore. It's totally, totally, totally different. The way you was brought up, it ain't the same way right now. Cause I know my little boy, he wanted to introduce me to TikTok. I ain't know about TikTok at all. My little boy introduced me to TikTok. I was like, man, what is this? He's like, Dad gonna have fun. And now I'm a TikTok at, you know. But my next question is, Mr. Craig, I tell me y'all can both jump in whatever y'all want to for the question. What have you learned from your father that you instill into your children today? You got to unmute yourself, Mr. Craig. Can you hear me? You got to press the unmute button. Yes, there you go.
Hey, give me that question again. I didn't hear the last part of it.
I got you, Mr. Craig. What have you learned from your father that you instill into your children today? Well, you, Mr. Craig, is your grandkid, because your kids are already old already, so grandkids.
Well, you know, I don't know if you know much about my family. I know everybody out in the world that know, but my father's a outstanding man. He was president of colleges. He a dean of seminaries and a preacher for all of his life. And one thing I learned about my father, he was always busy. He did a lot of work with Dr. King and a lot of work with a lot of other civic leaders out there. And they traveled all over the country. But one thing that impressed me most about my father is I ran a little track. I thought I considered myself pretty decent back in the day. And played a little football. My father never missed any of those track meets. He never missed any of those football games. He never missed a debate. If I was doing a debate in a classroom, he was there. So for me, the answer to your question is, to be a good king and a good father, you need to be in that child's life. That child needs to be able to depend on you best you can. Yeah, we all have our grind. We work. We understand that. But that child, if you tell that child, as my brother Tillman said earlier, if you tell that child you're gonna be there, be there. They don't understand. They don't understand. Well, I got caught in traffic, or boss told me you got to be there. And if by chance you can't, don't just say, "Oh, you'll get over it." That is something that will stick with that child all of their lives, all of this life. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. As a father, I was not able to do that for my children. I've been trying to, but I was not able to do that. And I've been trying to do better with my grandchildren. But I got in this business world, this corporate world, and I allow that to be a lot more important. So we talked about a lot of things over time, and I've been trying to do better. But being there is what that child wants. The money is great and all that kind of stuff, but they want to turn around and see you right there. So that's what I learned in my life.
Okay, so that's what you instilled into your kids and you instilled into your grandkids, was basically, in so many words, like I was saying, being there is key. That's what he just said. So right now, Brother Tillman, man, how would you like to answer that question? I'm reading to you again. What have you learned from your father that you instill into your children today?
I think it's very similar to what you said about discipline. It goes to discipline and doing everything decently and in order. So when they put their shoes up, I tell them, make sure they do it decently and in order. My son, he sees me make my bed every morning, so he goes and make his bed every morning. You know, so just doing things decently and in order I grew up with a military father, so I heard that term a lot. So just that's the biggest thing. You know, if he doesn't fold his clothes the right way, I don't care that he's only 5 years old. So what? You know, you just mentioned TikTok. I see people on TikTok, little kids that's like 5 years old playing the piano, playing the saxophone, doing martial arts at the same time and singing. And you telling me you can't fold some clothes? Nah, you know? So just being able to set that precedence for them and like giving that higher expectation that they can do something rather than just folding back into this, oh, they're only 5 type of mentality. Because you only have a limited time to have that influence.
And the reason why I let Tillman and Mr. Craig go first, because I know about Mr. Craig's dad. He told me all about him. With Tillman, he told me a snippet of it. With me, I don't sugarcoat. I don't lie at all. My dad wasn't in my life. You know what I'm saying? My dad taught me how to be a Cowboys fan, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But what my dad taught me was how to never walk away from my kids. Like, don't matter what the mama says, no matter what goes on. That's one thing that I would never do, is walk away from my kids. I remember as a little kid, my dad told me he was coming one time, like Mr. Craig told you, it stuck with me. He told me he was coming, he never did come, set me. I was sitting on the porch for like 4 or 5 hours. Then at another time, my dad passed by me telling me to deuce. Right then and there, I was like, well, whenever I have any kids, it ain't gonna never, ever happen. So what I still on my kids is just never leaving. Like my little boy, I think one time, traffic in Atlanta is bad. So I was driving one time. And I told him, I was like, man, I'm on the way. I told him I'm gonna be there at 5 o'clock. I got there about 5:05. And the mirror was sitting right there. I was like, man, what you doing sitting outside? He's like, Dad, he told me he was on the way. I said, man, now don't you ever sit outside again. When I'm outside and I'm right in front of this mailbox, then you come outside. So with me, I teach my little boy and I teach my girls just the love and the power of something. And they ask me about my dad. And the only thing I tell them like this, I say, guess what? Dad didn't know how to be a dad, but I still love him and he still loves me. I look exactly like my dad, but he wasn't in my life. But at the end of the day, he taught me how to be a strong, true dad, because I don't care about the baby mamas, or the children's mothers, as they want to call it. I'm gonna be right there for my little boo-boos for the rest of their life. Mr. Craig, know every Valentine's Day, I take off. When I used to drive church on the road, I would take off of work and make every Valentine's Day and take them out to eat, or take them out, just give them a gift. I do something like that. My little boy, I take him to the stores and I let him get something for his grandmother and his mom. I pay for it, but I show him that, hey, this is celebrated for your loved ones. Like, I want my little boy getting me gifts. I rather go, hey, let me take you out and get some for your great grandmother, get some for your mom. I do it like that. So, shouts out to Wolf Provost. He's in heaven right now, man. Thank you, Pops, for just making me strong, for doing everything that you were trying to do, but you didn't know how to do. But I still love my dad. So, Mr. Craig, right now, Mr. Craig, it is your turn for your question. Mr. Craig, you got to unmute yourself. You got to unmute yourself, Mr. Craig.
So you keep messing me up with this mute thing. I want to shoot out a phrase to you guys, and I want to just see what type of reaction you get from that. The phrase is simple, and it may sound cynical at first, but it really isn't. I just want to see what you get. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Father's Day. What does society do, or how does society celebrate those two phrases differently? Or does it, in your mind, or in your opinion?
Well, yeah. I think society celebrates Mother's Day as like, whoa, yeah, it's Mother's Day. We're going to put all the gift cards out here. We're going to put all the candy, all the flowers, everything. We're going to put everything right in for the mothers. Because you know what? Without them, nobody will be here. That's true. Okay, now we're going to put up Father's Day. One card. Happy Father's Day. They don't have all this stuff right here. It's put up one thing. But see, I'm going to show you something. To the fathers that love being a dad and don't trip out about that, guess what happens? We don't even let that stop us at all. Because guess what? It's only one day. I have to be a dad 365. So whether they put up one card and let's say they don't put up no card, it's cool. But I think society celebrates Mother's Day as just really, really big, because queens are important. They really do. But you still need a man and a woman to actually get together so you can't have the child. But I just feel like they celebrate Father's Day as just another day. As just another day. But shouts out to all my fathers out there that don't even worry about it. You still go out there and be a father 365. That's one day. I know people that go out there for one day and try to be the best dad they can be. Bro, there's more days in the month than that. There's more days in the year. You gotta be the father all 365. Get back to Mr. Craig question. I think celebrate Mother's Day just really, really big, because in everybody's eyes, mothers can do it by themselves, dads can't do it. But shout out to Tillman. Tillman doing it by himself. As a matter of fact, Tillman, you go ahead and answer that question too.
I was blessed to have a really great mother and a really great father. So, I take it as an opportunity to celebrate them individually on those 2 days. As far as society, I think it's a 100% imbalance in that particular, on those particular 2 days, so with Mother's Day, like, kind of like what Kyle was saying, like they want to move heaven and earth and rearrange the stars for it to go up there. And they like, how can we shoot rockets into the sky and get the astronauts to rearrange the stars so when the moms wake up in the morning, it says Happy Mother's Day across the sky. Whereas like I'll give you an example. I walked to the store the other day. I was waiting on some food to get ready. And this place out here that's like a market street. So there's an inner circle of a bunch of shops, restaurants, and stores, and then there's an outer one, and then there's a road in the middle that's kind of like makes one big circle. So the shop was right here where I had my food, and I went across the street to this athletic store to ask them about getting something for myself and my father, which is like some athletic shorts that I had been wanting. So I was like, I might get my dad some too. So I walked into the store. The lady's like, hey, welcome to the store. She's like, everything in the store is half off. I was like, that's awesome. That sounds great. What kind of deals y'all got going on for Sunday? And she's like, what's going on Sunday? I was like, man, you know what? Sunday is a really great day. Man, it's one of the best days of the year. Man, you should really look into it. You know what? I'm pretty sure if you have if you have a cell phone or what they call, which is a mobile device, I'm pretty sure you can figure out what's going on Sunday. But y'all should run some specials on Sunday. And then her coworker was like, she's like, man, what's going on Sunday? And her coworker jumped in and said, Sunday's Father's Day. And the other girl was like, oh, y'all, today's Saturday. This was Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? Just the mentality, and at least in the Western culture, I'll say that, because there might be people watching this that, like me personally, I took 8 years of martial arts. And this is why I see so much going on, and specifically like the Black community, or what they call the Black community, urban community or whatever. Because when I took martial arts, you don't see these things in Chinese culture. You don't see these things in Indian culture. Like, they celebrate their fathers. I think that there's a huge imbalance in the Western culture, because you got to remember where we came from and the history behind things, his story. Remember that. But when you got built up from the 1920s, right, there's all this quote unquote, what they call male dominance, right? So they started having this women empowerment movement, and it's been strategic to where, a woman can go and get child support from the government. A woman can go and get food stamps from the government. A woman can go and get a job, because we need a certain amount of women in our company. So there's been all this buildup of woman empowerment, which is nothing wrong with that, but there is something wrong with imbalance. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of women will come on here and say, oh, well, I had to carry this child for 9 months and birth him and so forth and so on. Guess what? We appreciate you for that. We're not knocking that whatsoever. We understand that that's something that we can't do. But like Kyle said, I can go outside of my yard right now and hope and pray that I can get an apple tree. But until I plant that seed and water that seed, nothing's going to grow. So as men, we provide that seed in order for you to have that baby. So just understand that as well. Like, we have a role, you have a role, and both roles should be celebrated. So I'm not against, and here's the thing that I find a lot. By speaking on men empowerment in a lot of these circles, I find that I get a lot of backlash, because it automatically, like Brother Craig would say, I want to say this and see how you respond to it. It's a trigger for people that I say I want to empower other men. Why? That's my 3-year-old's favorite question. Why? Why is that? Why is it a trigger for us to empower men? Why? It's not a trigger if I empower a woman. And here's the thing about it. Women will go out here and set up a business and say, I'm going to go have this beauty salon. I'm going to do this grand opening. And it'll be 50 other women that say, oh, girl, we're going to come support you. They tell all their homegirls, tell all their friends, do all this stuff. And as a man, I could go start a trucking business tomorrow. And, who's going to support that? You see what I'm saying? It's like it's become normalized in our mind. And you got to remember, the devil shoots fiery darts in your mind. It's a mental battle. So if something is triggering you, you got to ask yourself why. You see what I'm saying? In the Garden of Eden, Satan came after Adam just like he came after Eve. You see what I'm saying? And then he came after Adam and was like, hey, look, this is what's going to be. And Adam was like, look, hey, God told us don't eat from the tree. That's all I know. I got all these other trees out here. I'm going to go over here and get me an apple and a pear and some watermelon, and I'm going to call it a day. I'm good on what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been up in here for about a good 500 years up in Eden. I've been eating good. I ain't messing with the flow. You see what I'm saying? The serpent came to Eden and was like, look, you missing out on all these good things. You could be just like God. You tripping. Go ahead, eat from the tree of good and evil. But see, that's the thing. It's the tree of good and evil. You see what I'm saying? And then she came and brought it to the man. And that's not to bash women whatsoever. But what happened after that was God came down and said, okay, look, I'm going to allow this woman, like if you notice, when a woman's in a relationship, she leans on that man to do what? To have to make intelligent decisions, because we are biologically programmed to be less emotional. Therefore, we could be a higher logical thinker. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you're in perfect balance, guess what? It's a beautiful harmony. But what happens is the devil tries to come into our society and create these different things that are normal, when really it's not normal. But when you step back and take a look at it, you say, look, this is not how God intended for things to be. We're not supposed to be in this huge unbalance between men and women. You see, I have a military father. There's a strategy called divide and conquer. If you divide the man and the woman and you put the man and the woman against themselves, then that's an opportunity for the devil to step in and say, hey man, you see how this girl doing over here, man? She ain't doing right. She ain't doing right. She know you had to be at work all day. She could have made you something to eat, but instead she's up here watching Kim Kardashian. Like, man, you better go handle that. And then go over there to the woman to be like, man, you see this man over here? He didn't be at work all day. He been away from you all day. You think if he really loved you, that he would be coming home, just kissing up on you, doing this and this and that, and he just gonna come home and start complaining about him not having nothing to eat. How selfish is that? To put the man against the woman. That's called divide and conquer. Men and women have to realize what that game is and figure out that they don't have to succumb to those temptations of being against each other. That's the problem. The problem is not with Mother's Day. The problem is not with Father's Day. The problem is with the imbalance and the lack of unity between the man and the woman, and the way that the devil has come in to divide and conquer us so that we can't be our best selves. Because guess what? When we're both together on a team with the same mindset as one flesh, he knows he can't stop us. Think about it. If you was my enemy, you're going to try to do everything you can to try to stop me. So if I got a whole squad and I got a whole team, you're going to try to divide and conquer us. Just like my man said in whatever that movie was, One Band, One Sound. So when I talk about men empowerment, we talk about Father's Day. Fathers should be celebrated just as much. And, you know, they have women out there be like, well, women always holding down the fort. We do this and this and that. These men are over here running off on their children. Guess what? I'm a living example of that. Women do the same thing too. So I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear it because you know why? Every single time we talk about mothers, we talk about all the great things that they do. We don't sit up here and talk about all the women that run out on their children. We don't sit up here and talk about, like, I live in Texas. We don't talk about the women that are like Andrea Yates that try to drown their children in the tub on Mother's Day. But for some reason on Father's Day, it's like, oh man, you got these deadbeat dads out here. They ain't doing this. I can go get this from the government. I can go get this from that. Understand that is a strategic by the devil for them to come in and try to put you against your man. But anyway, I digress. That's a whole nother show in and of itself. I could go in on that. Like, y'all don't even know. Like, I could go so in on that for over an hour, just literally breaking down to you the strategic attack of the devil against the man and the woman so that he can divide us and conquer us. But I will digress, and I'll leave you with this. We should both be celebrated on the same level. And the Bible says, think on those things which are true, think on those things which are good, think on those things which are pure, think on those things which are of a good report. So if you got a man that's doing anything good, celebrate that on Father's Day. You know why? Because when it's Mother's Day, you want to be celebrated for the good that you do, not bring up all the bad or quote unquote things that you're growing through. So I gotta say about that.
Hey, you want to hear any more of that? Hey, take them out on Clubhouse. Let's get real deep. But for time, because we all got to do stuff, so that's why we got to just run through it. Mr. Craig, before we get ready to go to my next question, Mr. Craig, would you like to say anything about what Mr. Tillman just said? Not a long answer, Mr. Craig. You got to
most definitely. Most definitely. I'm going to sum it up in two phrases. Men, do better. Handle your business. Handle your responsibilities. Women, ladies, do not talk your man down in front of your kids. Two things that we got to stop doing, because again, as my man just said, that is divide and conquer, and we have to clean it up ourselves. Now I can go just like him. Kyle, we need to schedule a whole class, a whole video on just that. That was powerful. So thank you very much, brothers. Thank you very much.
I do it. As soon as you know how to edit videos and everything else like that, we will do that, Mr. Craig. I got you. But you know what you could do is you could come on Clubhouse with me and Tillman when he does his Father's Day thing on Clubhouse. We would love to have you on there because Tillman does this think almost every other week. When you get the fathers in the room, we have a conversation, and I don't care who room I'm in. When Tillman goes in with that, I jump straight to the room. And it's not like I'm Tillman about to be 30, I'm 34. So our age levels is right there with Mr. Craig. All the wisdom you bring, I would love you to come in on Clubhouse. Tell me, Mr. Craig gonna be on Clubhouse twice. He got a whole invite on that 2 times. But man, also tell me, I'm gonna do my question, and then we're gonna answer this, and then you're gonna do yours, and then we're gonna let Mr. Craig do his last question. That's cool? All right, cool. So my question is, how have being a father changed your king mind frame? So when I feel like that, like it's something like the same question we always ask, but I think it's a little bit different because I think when you become a father, your mind state has to change. You can't go out to the club until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when you know you got this little baby right there. Like what you tell me, you have your kids. So it's certain stuff that I know you love to work out. Because you can't work out 7, 8 hours no more. Because you know, oh man, I gotta get my little prince, I gotta give him a little prince, I gotta give him a little princess. So you can't do the same thing. So how being a father, how like give the people something so they know how have it changed you? Because bro, I've been watching everything you do and I'm proud of you, but I know a lot of stuff has to change right now so you can be this strong father that you are right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, when I think about a king, I think about a humble servant. So whenever you have a king that's over an entire kingdom, you know, the best kings, like who I think is the best king that I look up to is King Solomon. You know, so he was awesome, but at the same time, when you think about a king, you know, I don't know if anybody's ever seen those old school movies where like you have a king that's going through and like giving orders and he has advisors and you know he's looking over the entire kingdom, but he's looking over the entire kingdom to assess how he can best serve his kingdom. And that's what it's really about to me, because when you have children, everything is about them. You know what I mean? Like everything. There's times you want to sleep, you're not gonna be able to sleep. There's times you want to eat your food. As soon as you get your hot plate ready, they all up in your face trying to get all your food. So, you know, it's just about being able to be a humble servant, and that's what's really changed my mindset, because it's something that's easy to say, but it comes to life once the children are actually there. So that would be how, you know, I've definitely changed my mindset as my kingdom. And the last word I'll leave you with is just legacy. You know, like whenever you're a young man, you don't really think about, you know, your legacy as much as after you have children. So being able to have king and trying to raise them to be the heir to the throne, so to speak, you know, to take over what you want to build, then you want to build that to say, hey, I want to build this to build generational wealth for my children. I want to build a company that will outlast me. But also, guess what? You have to raise the heir to be prepared to take over that within the generation that they're going to be in, not that you're in. You see what I'm saying? A lot of fathers, they'll come in and say, oh, I want to build this to have generational wealth. But you got to turn around and teach that child that you want to see take over your company one day discipline, fortitude, timeliness, keeping your word, structure, the way you dress, the way you speak, how to put together a contract, how to look over an NDA, what is ROI, what's return on investment, you know, what are these different principles that you need in order for him to be successful in that role? You see what I'm saying? That's a whole nother task in and of itself. So to me, being a king equals humble servant. So if you can humble yourself to say, you know what, son, I don't know the answer to this question, but we're gonna figure it out together, because I believe that this will help me grow and it'll help you grow into a role that'll help you when you get ready to take over the company. So it's about legacy and it's about being a humble servant. That's the 2 things that I've learned.
Now, Mr. Craig, knowing your kids are older, you have grandkids, yours gonna be, I'm gonna ask you the question, but I want you to include your kids and your grandkids into this question. How have being a father / grandfather changed your king mind frame?
Good question. First of all, it doesn't change it for me. Something that Brother Tillman hit on earlier that I have to applaud again is a king has to take it to a higher level and look about what's best for his kingdom. And in our case, it's our families. There's examples in the Bible where one woman stole that child, and she wanted, when they took it to the king, the woman who stole the child wanted the baby split in half and give. And the woman, the real mother, said, "Oh no, I would rather give up my child than to see my child killed because of this foolishness." A king looks at it biblically and looks at it financially. And I love your analogy, my brother, on legacy and all that kind of stuff. A real king looks at that bigger picture and says, okay, what is going to be best, not only for right now, for years down the road. My grandchildren are very important to me because that is a part of my long-term legacy. I'm looking forward to seeing them. If the good Lord keeps me around, I'm looking forward to seeing my kids go to college. My grandkids, all my kids went. My grandkids go to college and prepare their minds for leading another generation 4 or 5 years from now. So to answer your question, Kyle, as a king, for me, being a king is being strategically, genetically strategic. Now, I'm gonna let all your folks think about what I just said later, but you are looking at how God is giving you a blessing, how you should be giving it on to your kids and praying that God is going to strengthen them along the way for generations. I would love to be able to have a conversation with my great, 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 great grandfather and him telling me what his vision was then and the struggles he went through, obviously through slavery, and where I am now. And hopefully I've taken life, his dreams, to another level. And my prayer for great, 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 great children is that they have taken my strategic genetic dream to another level so they can pass it on to their children. So, Kyle, in a nutshell, I just want to be strategically, genetically with my goals, my hopes, my dreams, and of course, spiritually for generations to come.
Okay, and with me, I think what changed with being a father with me, because one thing about me, I always been a king. I always wore my crown the right way. I always done everything else. But Mr. Craig and Tillman, he knows, so they can tell you. When I say I work, I work, I work, I don't get that much sleep. And why I don't, because I want to build the legacy for my kids. I already done everything in the street. So everybody knew what came in the street. That was my nickname in the street. But Kyle Jacko, people thinks about that name, and my kids have to that legacy of the Jacko last name. It's not attached just to football, basketball, rapping, none of that. It's attached to motivational speaking. Motivational speaking goes together in my life. It's so big in my life because I know we all have good days and bad days. But how many of these bad days you want to let it affect your good days? How many times you gonna keep on beating yourself up? So as my kids keep on getting older and older and older, I want to be like, you know what? Now I understand why dad worked so hard, why dad never really got sleep, why dad had this series, dad done this, dad done this. I gotta make a legacy for them. I gotta show them that, hey, no matter what's in front of you, you work. If you was a truck driver, you work. You a motivational speaker, you work, personal trainer, whatever you do, you give it your all 365. I use my voice. My voice is my tool. I use it all the time because I know what motivation can do to somebody that's sitting in a dark place right now. They might just need a prayer. I might need somebody just to talk to. Everybody don't have an OG Craig Costen. Everybody don't have a Tillman. Everybody don't have a Kyle Jacko. But you can always be that voice to show the world something different. Me and Tillman met on Clubhouse. And one thing about when me and Tillman met on Clubhouse, it was never, I'm bigger than Tillman, he's bigger than me. It's always, what can we do for the people? How can we help out the people? Me and Mr. Craig the same way. What y'all don't know is Mr. Craig is like my motivational speaker. He is like my life coach. He's my accountability coach. He don't teach me how to dress at all because he can't dress at all. But he teaches me so much stuff in my life. What I do is I take what he tells me because he's my elder. He ain't already raised grown kids. He raising grandkids right now. So guess what? All the knowledge I saw from around him, I bring that to my kids. So make sure you get around the right people. And hey, once again, respect your elders, man. I'm telling you, the elders sometimes they don't understand us. Sometimes they don't. But guess what? All them gray hairs they got and everything else they got it from something. They got it because of wisdom. Respect your elders no matter what. But right now, Tillman, you got your last question. After that, Mr. Craig, it'll be time for you to give your last question. Unmute your microphone, Tillman.
My last question is
no, it's not you. It's Tillman.
Oh, brother Tillman. I'm sorry for stepping on you. Go right ahead, brother.
No, it's all good. I was just looking it up real quick. So, when your children grow up, what's the number one scripture you want them to know?
Wow. Well, it leads into my last question, which is of the 10 that the 10 that is already written out in the commandments. The one that I really want my kids to understand and to fulfill is honor thy mother and their father. Yeah, they shouldn't kill. Definitely shouldn't kill. They shouldn't murder, shouldn't commit adultery, all of them. But God slipped that one in for a reason. He put that in. You would think that would be just common sense. But unfortunately, and I'm not going to go too deep in it because I'm going to ask it in my last one, is why was it necessary to tell you to honor, to respect, to take care of your ailing parents? Why was it necessary? It was necessary because that's where our wisdom comes from. That's where our guidance comes from. That's where love is usually comes from. So it's important for us and our kids to understand that is extremely important. That we going forward, we honor our mothers and our fathers.
Okay, and mine is Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. That is something that I teach my kids so much because I have to let my kids know, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what it is, no matter the test you're going through, no matter if I'm this person that you might not like one day. Because I know my little boy sometimes he don't like me, but he can't let me. I don't worry about it. But God will never leave you at all. And that is so big in my life because my kids know this. My kids don't know what I did out there, but they know one thing about dad. Dad might hit a brick wall. They've been around me before when the light got turned off and this, that, we had to get cameras and stuff like that. But they've been around me to know dad's gonna make a way. If there's been plenty of times they came to the house, hey, that's when I ate pork chops. It was like only 4 pork chops left. It was 4 of my kids left. So key word, it was only 4. But I made sure at the end of the day, whatever I did, I made sure my kids eat. They might only have like about that much juice. Daddy couldn't have nothing. Kids got it. I made sure whenever it's time to popcorn, guess what? They only got 3 packs there. They got 4 kids. Hey, I'm gonna take all 3 of the packs and put them all in a big bowl, and we all gonna be good. Like I go without, but I know God always provides. So that's what I always teach my kids. So once again, that's Deuteronomy 31:6 NIV version. Hey, make sure y'all go check it out. You never know what it might be for you. So Tim, what is your verse?
Yeah, mine is one that I actually have. It's like this is my brand right here. This is my logo, and it's right here on the top. Joshua 1:8. I don't got my backpack on me. I got a backpack too. That's pretty fire actually. But and I got the back of it like this. See what I'm saying? With the TG3 on there. But Joshua 1:8 is my favorite one. It's this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, so that they may find that it is good to do everything therein, and then thou shalt make thy way prosperous and find good success. So there's like so much within that scripture. And, even if I'm you know, dead and gone, and I'm no longer here, I want them to remember that scripture, because they're gonna remember that, you know, oh, let me go back to that book that dad was talking about. You know what I mean? So this book of the law should not depart out of that mouth, meaning that they shall meditate in it. And there's just so many great gems in the book in the Bible. So I'm just very, very thankful for it, because, you know, if I'm dead and gone, if I could pass that on to them, they'll realize that I've already given them the guidance to last them for whatever situation they come across. And the fact that it says good success, meaning that not all success is good. You see what I'm saying? Not all money is good money. You know, I know Mr. Craig heard that a couple times. So, you know, not all money is good money. Not all success is good success. You got a lot of people that's quote unquote worldly successful that, you know, are miserable, they depressed, they mental state is all out of there, in and out of rehab, whatever the case may be. But, you know, just if they could just understand that one scripture and allow that to propel them, that's one I would be happy with. That's my personal favorite as well.
Okay, love it, man. Hey, before we get ready to go to OG Craig Costen, hey, I hope y'all watch this video. I hope y'all didn't click off over this, that, and the other. Hey, this is for the fathers. Hey, to all women out there, if you watch and you love what you watch right now, hey, do a little gem. Send it to your husband if he's not there. Send it to your baby's daddy or baby's father, whatever you want to call it. Send it to them. Send it to people that's in your life right now that you highly respect. Matter of fact, send it to people that you don't highly respect. Just send it to them and just like, hey, I would like you to watch something. These brothers have wisdom, strength. One of them, like a little handsomer than the other ones. But don't worry about that. I digress. But just make sure that you send it to somebody that's in your family. Because I know with me, I'm going to blow up everybody's phone tomorrow. Tomorrow's Father's Day. We shot this on Saturday. But I'm sending it to everybody in my phone because this video is well deserved. And what I want to do every single year is do another one. But also at the same time, me and Tim, we're going to link up and we're going to try to do something where we can do this every 2 weeks or every 2 weeks, something like that. We can just do something. We can just bring other men in. Whenever Mr. Craig is free and Tillman that. And we're not just doing this for Father's Day. We're going to have this a men's conference about just life in general. I think we need to take it from Clubhouse, from what Tillman does. We need to take it from my Clubhouse, and we need to take it from Instagram. We need to do something so the father can have time to speak and we'll be good to go. So, Mr. Craig, I know what you said. I looked at the questions again. What Tillman said actually flows into what you were saying. So I don't know how you're going to reword it, but you have the last question.
Yeah, I thank you very much, brother. Tillman hit on my last question so much, and I'm going to change my last question now because I can get passionate about it. But if you had an opportunity to go back and talk to your grandfather and your father about conversations you didn't have while they were alive. And part two of that same question is, if you had an opportunity to go forward and talk to your great-great-great-grandchildren, grandsons, since we're talking fathers, what would it be? And what would you be asking them? And what would you be willing to say to your lineage down the road?
I think when it comes to me, if I got to go back and talk to my father and my grandfather, well, his dad, I think I want to know why my grandfather loved my dad to defend by himself. He loved him in Louisiana with nobody to defend. And I want to ask him why, because I would ask him if I know the future is like, you know what you're doing, you're setting up a failure because you never took care of him and you put him out there for him to stand by his own. And guess what? He's going to have me and he's going to do the same thing. My dad has about 10, 12 kids. So with him not breaking that curse because the father before him never took care of him. So with him not taking, my dad didn't know how to be a dad. So he didn't know how to be a dad. He had all these kids and they didn't know how to be a dad, but I broke that curse. My brothers and my sisters, we broke my dad's curse because my dad didn't know how to do it. So if I got to get ready to speak to my son like when he's 21 and 22 years old. Oh, I tell him like, and I tell him the same thing I tell him right now. Keep your head in the books, keep your head on the Bible, keep on moving forward. And right now, hey son, you're gonna see a lot of beautiful women. You're gonna see a lot of them. Remember what dad told you? You were 10 years old. You want the whole check to be gone? Because if you go the wrong way, that was gonna happen. And you already saw what dad done. I'm proud to have you as my son, but you saw that I couldn't make it every game all the time because I gotta go run over here or do this. I didn't want my son, when I speak to him, to be like, Dad, I want him my crown, the way you roll your crown. 4 years ago, that's the way I wore my crown. Before then, I didn't wear my crown the right way. So I want my son to be like, Dad, I'm wearing my crown the right way. I'm praying, I'm being a big brother, I'm making sure I go out to the church. I want to change society the right way. And guess what, Dad? I'm hanging around the right people. I pray Mr. Craig's still right here. If Mr. Craig's still right here, it would be so good that my son could just meet Mr. Craig, and Mr. Craig's like, yeah, your dad, he the mouth of the South. We could never give him the shut up, but he was always positive. And he could tell my son, like, yeah, I remember your dad wanted to quit at CDL school. And I told him, go ahead and quit. Then your dad walked out the door. And I had to go get your dad. And your dad just told me, like, I don't follow man, I follow God. And that's why I say that church school. So if I can talk, when I talk to him when he get older, I'll be like, man, your dad done a lot. But one thing your dad never did do, he never gave up. And he always made sure that he kept God first. And at the same time, you're gonna hit bumps in the road, but you're gonna be good. Just keep on doing what you're doing. And my girls, they already know they can't get married till they 60. Go ahead, Tim.
Man, I mean, I could really spend a whole hour on this one alone too. But if I could go back, I would definitely be asking more about, like, you know, me personally, if I'm being 100 with y'all, I would really ask more about systemic racism, you know. And then with it being Juneteenth today, the day that we're shooting this, I know it's going to launch on Father's Day, but that's what I would really want to know about, because what you learn in K through 12, you know, when I went to school, I went to a magnet high school. So those books are written by certain people they're going to tell their story, you know, and you know, it's kind of like one of the situations, like, you know, you got like a fight that break out and there's 20 people around. And if you go talk to all 20 people individually, they all got a different story about the same event. So with 400 years of slavery, if you talk to a bunch of different people, you're going to get a bunch of different answers. And the books that you get in high school, middle school, even college, because I've been to college, it wasn't until I actually came across another melanated man who started teaching me about real history. So if I was able to go back and able to get that from my great grandfather, like on a one-on-one conversation, I would love that, because I would love to hear like what the, like just the whole thing around it, like Jim Crow laws. Like they have the book, The New Jim Crow Laws, you know, and just to see like where we came from as far as systemic racism. And then for my great grandchildren, it even feels weird even saying that out loud, but for my great grandchildren, I would love to go tell them that, like in 70 AD, I don't know if anybody knows about this, but in 70 AD, back in Rome, and back when you look at like the children of Israel, they had like a strategic plan to make the children of Israel really, really busy. So what they did was they took the men and they had them go work in a whole nother city, and they kept them busy. So that way they couldn't do what, God originally instructed us to do, which is to be fruitful and multiply, because at that time they were really gaining in number and having all these children and like literally, beginning to outnumber them. And when you look at things today, as far as like, just alcohol and drugs and Planned Parenthood and, all these different things as far as like systemic racism goes, and I think this is perfect because it's like, it's Juneteenth. So let's talk about it. You feel me? So, I think that this conversation needs to be had more, but it's one of the things that I would want to teach my grandchildren like today, it's great to have a cell phone. It's great to be able to, you know, entrepreneurship has become this new sexy word. Like you can do whatever you want to do. But one of the things that I'm really passionate about at this moment in my life right now is creating passive income and learning how to make my money work for me so that when my children get older and they are in sports and doing all this stuff, I'm sacrificing that time now so that I can be there. That's why I appreciate what Mr. Craig has said, because I had martial arts tournaments, I had basketball games, I had football games that my dad couldn't go to, that when I got older, I had to take the time to use my imagination and use meditation to reframe my mind to understand that my father was doing that so that he could provide the money for me to even play those sports. But when you're younger, you look up in the stands and all you want to see is your father be present. But you don't understand until you get older that he had to be able to go and work to even provide the financing for you to even get your shoulder pads, for you to get your helmet, for you to get your gear, for you to get a basketball, for you to get a mouthpiece so you don't bust your teeth wide open. But all you care about is him being present so he can see you do your thing. And you know, having money is great, but having money and time freedom is a whole lot better. So, you know, having these phones and having all these apps and computers and laptops and all that stuff is great. But at the same time, it just goes back to what your purpose is. You know, what is your purpose? What are you doing it all for? And for me personally, I'm working really, really hard. Even though I have a full-time job, I'm still building my business at the same time. And I'm a single dad of 2 kids. So not even to mention what I got to do for court. Like that's just a whole nother thing. Even just fighting for my kids was like a full-time job in and of itself. Like Kyle said, when I come to sleep, I was pulling like 2-3 all-nighters a week. You know what I'm saying? Just to even do that. I got the load of laundry for my kids' clothes on right now. Like I do it all. So, I mean, but I know that there's going to come a day where, you know, I'll be able to have like an event when my kids is 10 or 11 and it might be science fair. Hey, if it's science fair, I just want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be at the science fair. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like if I could go talk to my younger kids, I would let them know, like, I wish somebody would have told me when I was like 17, 18, 19 years old, hey, look, let me tell you something. Women are always going to be there. We're always going to be there, always going to be there. All right. They are going to try their best to have this relationship with you. You have to be the one to set the tone and be strong enough to say, that's not what I'm doing right now. If you want to be friends and you want to help me build this company, then that's cool. But as far as anything else beyond that, I'm not here for it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first went to college, I wish somebody would have told me that. You know, I'm young, I'm athlete, I'm in shape, I have charismatic. So it was only a matter of time before I'm like, I'm the man on campus, you know what I'm saying? Or at least one of them. I was on a step team too. Like I'm active. So I was in all these different things. So, you know, obviously that comes with a lot of temptation. So if I could go back in time, I wish that I would have told, like I would have been told, look, that business that you're trying to build, the investing that you're trying to do, the making money online that you're trying to do right now, focus on that and build that. Forget about having relationships with these women. Don't have no girlfriend. Don't do none of that. Like a lot of times we go to our young daughters and we're like, I don't want you to date till you're 60 years old. I don't want you to date no man. But we got to say that to our young kings too. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, no matter what, this is what I've learned about women. And this is not a knock against women because they look at us and they're like, we want you to provide, we want you to protect. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also got to understand these outside influences, like from the government, from social media, from reality TV, and all the things that they do is Juneteenth. So I'm gonna be real, to keep us down, especially the melanated man in our community. They are literally purposefully keeping us down. So you can't come and pile on top of that and be like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Just like Mr. Craig was saying, you got to be able to go in and build your man up and be that backbone. You can't be running out here having mimosas and pancakes with your girlfriends talking about how great of a backbone you are and then turn around and go tear your man down in the home. That's not okay. And talk about why he's not doing this and this and this and this. Figure out what support he needs so he can build that business. Because once you get older and you have kids and you realize how much time, attention, and energy it takes to raise them up properly to be kings and queens, then you're going to realize, man, I had so much time as a single man that I wasted playing video games. I had so much time as a single man that I wasted going bowling with such and such. I had so much time that I wasted. I could have been building this business. I was going on a date to Red Lobster with a girl I don't even talk to no more and probably don't even follow on Instagram. That was all wasted time. You see what I'm saying? And we got to teach our young kings that too. Like, look, I understand you want to have a relationship. That's cool too. You know what I'm saying? But understand, when you take on a woman, you're taking on more responsibility. So if you could take on the fact that if you're going to go build a house, go ahead and build your foundation now. While you're young, you got energy, you got the mindset, and you got everything that you need to go ahead and build that foundation. Because once you build the foundation, you can start building on top of that, and you build structure. And now not only are you a man, but you'll become a high value man. And then you can invite a woman in there that's going to be on the same level and be equally yoked with you. But until that's there, and then the last thing I'll leave you with is this. God came and built all this stuff in 7 days in Genesis, right? All this stuff in 7 days, right? We had the land, the animals, all this stuff before he even dropped Adam in there. So you got to build up all your stuff, how you want it to be. Figure out who you are. Figure out who you want to be first. Because if you don't have that, you don't even know who's equally yoked with you because you don't even know who you are. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, like I said, look, don't even get me started, King. You are, bro. Woo!
Like I told you, we're gonna have to have this again every 2 weeks. We're gonna have to have it again. See, today Tillman is off. It's a critical time, but I still gotta go to work. That's for a fact. I still gotta go. That's why I gotta get through it. But we're gonna have a little snippet of reflections. I'm gonna go, then Tillman's gonna go. Mr. Craig gonna have his. Mr. Craig, we do not need you giving us Thanksgiving prayers, okay? I still got to go to work. So take them long prayers. I need you to chop them up to lunch to leftovers. Because, hey, my reflection is, Amir, Jacko, Daddy loves you. You're going to be very, very strong. You already very, very strong. You wearing your crown the right way. Need you to keep on brushing your teeth, wiping your face. You got to keep on doing that, son. To Madison, Jacko, Daddy loves you. You are Daddy's first little girl. You taught Daddy how to do hair. You have taught Daddy how to just understand that I have to tap into my emotions. To Nalani, Daddy ain't never forgot about you. No matter what goes on, no matter who tells you anything, Daddy's doing everything right now for you and your sisters. I love you. And you my little booski, you know what I'm saying? You my little halfway mean kid, but you're very intelligent, and Dad is so proud of you, everything you're doing. And Dad's gonna do everything you gotta do when he go to court to get everything done because Daddy ain't done yet. To Taylor, Jacko, my turn-up queen. Oh, you gotta keep on turned up. Just remember, you can't dance better than Daddy, okay? You are so intelligent. I love that you love how to read. I love that you just love life. To Olivia Jacko, the one that want to act mean but not mean as a little cupcake. Daddy loves you. Always gonna be that little boo-boo. And like I tell all of y'all, and I know y'all waiting to say, which one Daddy love the most? I love all of y'all. Thank you, God, for giving me these kids, because these kids will be something very phenomenal to the world. And I love being y'all dad. Your turn, Tillman.
Yeah, I think my last reflection is just, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time. I just want to say that if there's any other, men out there that's fighting for their children, keep on fighting for your children, because, when I was going through, going through everything with the court and all that type of stuff, it's hard to get, it's easy to get distracted with that kind of stuff. And it's very hard to go through. It can feel very overwhelming. Sometimes when you're going up against the court, you're going up against, you feel like you're fighting against a woman. You feel like you're fighting against all those things. But God, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a living testament of the fact that I did actually get custody of my children. So just understand that, it's really, really important, and that you can do it. And the thing about it is this, at the end of the day, I found peace in the fact that God still entrusted me with those children. So I just kind of went forward with that. So make sure you're encouraging yourself, man, and, take care of yourself, and make sure you find some time for you, like whatever that is that you love to do. So yeah, I just really, really thank everybody that had a chance to watch this, and, to all the fathers, happy Father's Day. And, y'all just be blessed, man. Stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. So that's all I got to say.
My bad. Happy Father's Day to everybody, to the grandparents, to the foster parents, to everybody. Happy Father's Day. You just go out there and speak to the kids, and they just look at you like a dad. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to Tillman. OG Craig Costen. OG, you gotta say it like this. When you say OG, when you say Craig, you gotta say OG Craig Costen. You gotta grab your head, put it to the side. Happy Father's Day to you, Mr. Craig. And I want to say, man, thank you for being a very big inspiration in my life. I really do appreciate you. But go ahead with your reflections. And then, like I said, no Thanksgiving prayers, leftover prayers. Okay, a little bit.
Whatever, Cal. To my legacy line, I want you all to know, Erica, Jordan, Miranda, and all my grandchildren, I love you. I don't say it enough to you in your face, and I will do better. I want you to do better, but I love you. My legacy was left to me. Your legacy is going to be left to you, and it's going to be left built on a foundation of love and support. There's nothing more important in life than that. So continue doing what you do. I'm so proud of all of y'all and what you're doing and what you've achieved so far. And I will always be here. Even if I'm not here on this earth, I will always be there to support you in the afterlife. So as Kyle has asked me to do, keep it short. I love you. I love you. And if, just in case I didn't mention, I love you. Amen. Brother Kyle, is yours.
I told Mr. Craig to pray. He just didn't even say pray it out. So I guess I got to do it. I need everybody right now to close your eyes and just get ready. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. If you close your eyes when you're driving, you ain't going to make a more Father's Day video. It's going to be done for you. So God, as I come to you right now, God, I want to say thank you to Brother Tillman. Be up here and to be a vessel, be a light to everybody right now, because he's going to fight as hard as he can, do everything he can to help fathers get their rights. I love the men empowerment he does. I love everything he does when it comes to him just being a strong king. It's just everything he's doing face to face with every challenge he getting part of. Then with Quest, God, I pray you just keep on blessing him, blessing the children's mother too also. One thing about us, God, we might go through a lot of stuff. They might try to send us down a dark road sometime. But I know one thing about it, God, if we pray for them, it makes them stronger. It makes them better parents. It makes them better queens. So I want to say a prayer for her and everybody that's around Tillman. God, when it comes to Mr. Craig, I want to say thank you for bringing Mr. Craig in my life. Tell me keep on growing as a businessman, as a father. First of all, as a child of God, thank you for always letting him instill the right things to me and keep on giving me the right. I want to pray over his mother, keep her protected, keep her strong. I love his mother because one thing about her, she is the living testament of never giving up and always fighting for everything you want to do. God, to all his kids, to all his grandkids, bless all of them. Keep on just letting them just be everything they got to be in the world. God, to Tillman's legacy and Mr. Craig's legacy. I want them to keep on building. I want them to bring a generation of world so they can actually understand and actually get the kids to understand, the kids to understand that God, this right here is important. Amen. And Tillman, right now, I think you forgot, Tillman, you did not call out the kids' names, man. We gotta stop right quick so you call out the kids' name. What would you like to tell your kids when they get older, they'll be able to watch this? Go ahead and let them know.
Yeah, because I definitely wasn't given that instruction whatsoever. So when I saw y'all doing that, I was like, all right, so I'll just roll with it. So yeah, you know, for my children, man, I just want y'all to know Joshua 1 and 8, you know, and even though sometimes when y'all sleep, I go and eat those fruit snacks. I just want y'all to know I still love y'all. You know what I'm saying? The fruit snacks be busting though. You know, sometimes I be want some too. You feel me? But yeah, you know, my kids real young, so they know what's up. And I really appreciate all those times when we get to go and tell Alexa what song we want to play, and then we go out there and dance. So I hope y'all have a lot of fun memories of us dancing, laughing, and having a lot of joy. Even though y'all know, y'all got that line. Y'all step outside that line, y'all know what's gonna happen. So just you can have fun, you can have joy. Just, you know, stay within that line. Because when I step outside, it gets real. You know what I'm saying? Daddy flip a switch real quick. So yeah, man. I'm just so blessed to have my kids. Like I love y'all. Y'all so smart. And I'm honored to be able to watch y'all evolve and grow as human beings, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. So
okay. Shouts out. Hey man, this has been another episode of the King series, chapter 2, but it's the Father's Day edition. I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank Mr. Craig Costen for being here. thank Mr. Tillman, as he said on Clubhouse, with the yellow background, black tank top, just like that. And look, and I feel when Tillman does that on Clubhouse, he really be like, yeah, that's how I do it. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to Tillman. Man, thank y'all all for just watching us right now, man. It's really, really important, even though Jacko messed up the time a little bit. But we all came and we done everything we had to do. So, man, make sure you look at the description below. I'm putting all Tillman stuff down there. If you have a YouTube, Clubhouse, everything like that. And I'm gonna call Tillman and Mr. Craig later on because me and Tillman need to get Mr. Craig to make an Instagram instead of having a Facebook. So Mr. Craig's Facebook is gonna be down there. His email address is gonna be down there. Tillman email address is gonna be down there. So you can always contact us. Like I said, we're always available when we're not available. There's some type of way you can contact us, I promise it's gonna be. So look at the description below if you want to see Mr. OG Craig Costen and Mr. Tillman right there. So man, y'all have a blessed, enjoyable Sunday. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. Hey, remember, you are a father. Women can tell you what you're not doing. You make sure you give it your all. My name is Kyle Jacko with the black hat, red bottom. Y'all take care. Be blessed.